Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to complete chapter 3, the last part of parallel and perpendicular. At the end of this video, students will be able to recognize that two lines parallel to the same line are parallel to each other, recognize that every line perpendicular to one of two parallel lines is perpendicular to the other, and recognize that two lines perpendicular to the same line are parallel. You need a pencil, a set square, a ruler, your math practice book edition 2019. Now it's your turn. Please pause the video and try to do exercise number 3, page 18 from the math practice book. Let's work together. Consider the figure at right. Given this figure, draw the line M1 that is parallel to line D and passes through point A. Let us remember, as we have explained before, how to draw two parallel lines. The first way is we should bring the set square, place it on line D and reach it to point A. Then bring another ruler, put it on the other side of the set square, move the set square downward to reach point A and draw line M1 parallel to line D. Number 2. Draw line M2 that is parallel to line D and passes through point B. In the same way, we want to draw parallel, bring the set square, place it on line D, slide it to reach point B, bring another ruler, put it on the other side of the set square, move the set square upward to reach point B, and draw line M2. What can you say about the two lines M1 and M2? This is line M1 and this is line M2. Lines M1 and M2 are parallel. Yes, excellent. Now, there is another reason why these two lines M1 and M2 parallel. We know that because they don't intersect. Yes, it's correct. But from this property, we will conclude another conclusion that tells us these two lines M1 and M2 are parallel to the same line D. So, two lines parallel to the same line, then they are parallel to each other. Let's read the conclusion together. The hypothesis is line M1 parallel to line D. This is the figure. Line M2 parallel to line D. What do you conclude about line M1 and M2? They are parallel. This is the notation of parallel lines. Preposition 1. Let us generalize the rule. If two lines are parallel to the same line, then they are parallel to each other. Parallels to a line. This is the second property. It's your turn now. Please pause the video and do exercise number 4, page 18 from the math practice book. Given the following figure, the two lines D and F are parallel. Number 1. Draw the line M that passes through point C and perpendicular to line F. To draw perpendicular line, we use the set square, place it on line F, slide it to reach point C, and draw line M perpendicular, form right angle equal 90 degrees. What can you say about the two lines M and D? This is line M and this is line D. What can you say about them? Lines M and D are perpendicular. Excellent. Why these two lines are perpendicular? There is a property that said if two lines are parallel, line D and F are parallel. Any line which is perpendicular to one of them. This is line M is perpendicular to line F, then line M will be also perpendicular to line D because line D and line F are parallel. Let's observe the conclusion. The hypothesis is that line D parallel to line F and line M perpendicular to line F. What can you conclude about line M and line D? They are perpendicular. This is the notation of perpendicular. Let us generalize the second rule. If two lines are parallel, then the perpendicular to one of them is perpendicular to the other. Perpendiculars to a line. It's your turn, dear students. Please pause the video and do exercise number 5, page 19 from the math practice book. Let's work together. Consider the figure at right. Number 1. Draw the line M that is perpendicular to line D and passes through point A. To draw perpendicular, we bring the set square, place it on line D, and move or slide the set square to reach point A, then draw line M. Number 2, draw the line N that is perpendicular to line D and pass it through point B. In the same way, use the set square, place it on line D, move it to reach point B, and draw line N. 3. What can you say about the two lines N and M? What can you say? Lines M and N are parallel. Excellent. Why they are parallel? How do you notice that? From the given, from what we have drawn. Here, line N perpendicular to line D. Line M is also perpendicular to the same straight line D. Since both lines M and N are perpendicular to the same line D, then they are parallel to each other. Conclusion. The hypothesis is that line M perpendicular to line D and line N also perpendicular to line D. What do you conclude about the two lines M and N? They are parallel. Let's generalize the rule. If two lines are perpendicular to the same line, then they are parallel to each other. Assignment. Auto-dictation prepositions 1, 2, and 3, page 18-19 from Math Practice Book. Do exercises 2 and 3, page 21 from Math Practice Book. Summary. Parallel and perpendicular lines. Vocabulary. Straight line. Line AB, line D. Semiline. Semiline CD with origin C. Segment. Segment MN. Collinear points. 3 points belong to the same straight line. Relative position of two lines. First intersecting. Second perpendicular. Third coinciding. Fourth parallel. Parallel to a line. If two lines are parallel to the same line, then they are parallel to each other. If two lines are parallel, then the perpendicular to one of them is perpendicular to the other. Perpendicular to a line, if two lines are perpendicular to the same line, then they are parallel to each other. Thanks for watching my video.